Son, daughter, stop everything you are doing right now and listen to me with all your attention. What I am about to tell you can change everything in your life, but only if you pay complete attention. I have already released your miracle. It's not something I will do tomorrow. It's not something being prepared in heaven. It's not a promise for the distant future. It's already done. It's already released. It's already moving towards you at this very moment. But I need you to know something crucial today, because if you doubt, if you question, if you give up now that you are so close to seeing the manifestation, it will close. I am not threatening you. I am teaching you a spiritual law that works in my kingdom. Faith activates what I release. Doubt cancels what I decree. This is the truth that few understand. I know you have been praying. I know you have been waiting. I know there are nights when you cried alone, wondering where I was, if I truly heard your pleas, if I saw your tears falling on the pillow. And today I answer you with absolute clarity. Yes, I heard. Every word you whispered in the early morning, every silent cry from your heart, every tear that no one saw fall, everything reached my ears. And I not only heard, I already acted. I have already moved in your favor. I have already activated the process that will completely transform your story. Do you know what I did? I deposited within you a living substance, a supernatural power, a special anointing that contains absolutely everything you need to cross this desert and enter the promised land that I have prepared for you. This power is not distant. It is not in heaven, waiting to descend when you deserve it or when you become perfect. No, it is within you. Right now, as you listen to me, this divine substance is within your spirit, waiting to be activated. It is there like a seed planted in fertile soil, ready to germinate and produce abundant fruit in your life. But I need to explain something fundamental to you. This deposit that I have already made within you, this anointing that is already present within you, needs one thing to manifest visibly in your reality. It needs your faith. Your faith functions like a signature on a legal contract. Think of it this way. I have already signed my part of this pact. I signed it with my own shed blood. I have already placed my guarantee, my promise, my pledged word in this spiritual document. I have already decreed the provision you need, the healing you are seeking, the open door that will change your destiny, the miracle that seemed impossible. All of this is already ready in the spiritual world. The document is complete, but there is a blank space waiting for something, your signature. And your signature is to say with total conviction, I believe, Lord, I trust in your word. Without this signature of faith, the pact has no legal validity in the heavenly courts. I know you've doubted before. I know there are voices in your mind saying you don't deserve it, that you've spent too much time, that you've made too many mistakes, that God has forgotten you. But I'm telling you today, stop listening to those lies. The enemy wants you to give up right now, at the moment you're closest to victory, because he knows that if you sign this pact with your faith, everything will change irreversibly. Go to the comments now and write, I believe, Lord, because when you declare your faith publicly, you are signing the spiritual covenant that I have prepared for you. I'm not asking you to understand everything. I'm asking you to trust. Trust is the language of my kingdom. When you trust, even without seeing, even without understanding all the details, even when circumstances scream otherwise, you are releasing a power in the spiritual world that moves mountains, parts seas, and knocks down walls and manifests miracles. This is the time for your decision. This is the moment of your signature. Now, I want to reveal something to you that will completely change the way you see the miracle you're waiting for. Most people look to the sky hoping something will fall. They look at their surrounding circumstances hoping something will change externally first. They observe closed doors, empty bank accounts, negative medical diagnoses, broken relationships, and say, "I'm waiting for God's miracle." But I want you to understand a powerful truth that can dramatically accelerate the manifestation of what I have already released for you. The miracle is not coming from outside. The miracle is already inside you. When I said that I have already released your miracle, I wasn't talking about something traveling through spiritual space trying to reach you. I was talking about something that I have already placed within your spirit. It's as if I have deposited a seed of divine power in the soil of your being. This seed contains, in a compact form, everything you need: financial provision, physical healing, emotional restoration, open doors, healthy relationships, a clear purpose, the right direction. All of this is encoded in this living substance that I planted within you. It's not a vague promise floating in the air. It's a concrete spiritual reality deposited in the safest place that exists within you, where the enemy cannot steal, where circumstances cannot destroy, where time cannot corrode. But I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, "Lord, if this is already within me, why don't I see it? Why don't I feel it? Why does my external reality still seem the same?" And I answer you with love and clarity. A seed planted underground seems invisible to those who only look at the surface. But beneath the soil, powerful processes are happening. The shell is breaking, the roots are extending, life is preparing to emerge. The fact that you don't see it yet doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means it's happening in the invisible before it manifests in the visible. I always work this way. First the spiritual, then the natural. First faith, then vision. First the inner decree, then the external manifestation. The mistake many people make is focusing only on the outside world. They wake up and immediately check their circumstances. They check their bank account, their diagnosis, their relationship, the door that's still closed. And because they don't see external change, they conclude that God hasn't moved. But I am teaching you today to change your focus. Stop looking only outside. Start recognizing what is inside. Start honoring the deposit I have already made in you. Start speaking to that seed of miracle planted in your spirit and say, "I know you are there. I know God placed you in me. I know you will germinate and bear fruit in my life." This living substance that I have placed within you is not passive. It is active. It is powerful. It is waiting for only one thing: your faith to activate it. When you begin to believe in what I have already placed within you, when you stop begging for something I have already given you and begin to possess by faith what is already yours in spirit, something changes in the celestial dimensions. The invisible begins to become visible. The inner begins to manifest externally. The seed begins to break through the soil and sprout in your natural reality. This is the principle of how my kingdom operates. I give first in the spiritual realm, you receive by faith, and then it manifests in the natural realm. I know there's someone listening to this right now who's at their breaking point, about to give up, thinking God hasn't heard them, that the miracle won't come. Share this message with that person now, because I want them to know that the miracle is already within them, waiting to be activated by faith. You're not waiting for me to do something new. You're learning to access what I've already done. You're not convincing me to bless you. You're receiving the blessing I've already released. Everything changes when you understand this. You move from a position of begging to a position of possession. You already have it. Now just manifest by faith what is already yours in the invisible world. That's the secret that transforms everything. Now I need to explain to you how this pact works in practice. Because it's no use for me to release the miracle, it's no use for me to deposit the living substance inside you if you don't understand the spiritual mechanics of how this becomes real in your natural life. Think of a legal contract. When two parties make an agreement, both need to sign the document for it to have legal validity. No matter how perfect the contract is, no matter how favorable the clauses are, if one of the parties doesn't sign, that document is worthless. It's just paper with pretty words, but without the legal power to be enforced. I want you to understand that there is a covenant between me and you. It's not a covenant I'm offering now. It's a covenant I established long ago. It was sealed with my own shed blood. Every drop of blood that flowed was a divine signature guaranteeing everything you need: provision, healing, deliverance, restoration, purpose, glorious destiny. All of this is written in this spiritual contract. And I have already signed my part. I have already paid the price. I have already fulfilled all the legal requirements in the heavenly courts. The document is complete on my side. Nothing is missing on my part. The question that determines whether you will experience all of this in practice is only one. Will you sign or not? And I need you to understand what signing this pact means. It's not a ritual. It's not a magic prayer. It's not lighting candles or repeating words aloud 50 times. Signing this pact is an internal decision you make. It's you saying, I choose to believe what God has said. I choose to trust in His word above my circumstances. I choose to accept that He has already done everything, and now I receive by faith. This decision, this conscious and firm choice, is your signature on the spiritual document. When you make this choice, something happens in the invisible dimensions. The pact becomes active. The promises become enforceable. What was written on the spiritual paper now has the legal power to manifest in your reality. But I know that many wait to feel something before signing. They say, when I feel more faith, when I feel more security, when I feel that God is near, then I will believe. But I am telling you today that this is the opposite of how it works. You don't wait to feel to sign. You sign, and then you start to feel. Faith is not a feeling you wait for. Faith is a decision you make even when you feel nothing. It's you looking at the document I prepared, seeing my blood signature there, and saying, if God signed, I also sign. If He guaranteed it, I accept it. If He promised, I believe. Period. No negotiation, no waiting for external signs, no waiting for internal emotions, just a firm decision. Based on the word I gave you. Do you understand the seriousness of this? Do you understand that at this moment you are facing a choice that defines everything? Many people live their entire lives with unfulfilled promises, not because I didn't fulfill my part, but because they never signed theirs. They wanted the miracle, but they didn't want to take the step of faith. They wanted provision, but they didn't want to trust when everything pointed to the opposite. They wanted healing, but they didn't want to declare health when the symptom was still screaming. And the pact remained there, valid on my side, but inactive in their lives, simply because the signature of faith was missing. I don't want this to happen to you. I want today to be the day you make the decision, not tomorrow, not when things get better, not when you feel more ready. Today, now, at this moment, while you listen to me, like this video, and subscribe to this channel now as an act of covenant, because I will continue teaching you to live in this active pact with me. When you sign with faith, I move with power. When you say yes, I release what was being held back. When you agree with my word, I make happen in your life what I have already decreed in heaven. That is the pact. That is the agreement. You sign with faith, I execute with power. Simple as that. Direct as that. Powerful as that. There is a word in the original language of the scriptures that I want you to understand today. It is the word kairos. It is not the ordinary time you measure on a clock. It is not the chronological time that passes second after second, minute after minute, hour after hour. That ordinary time is called chronos. But kairos is different. Kairos is the opportune time. It is the right moment. It is the specific window that I open in your life where everything can change if you respond correctly. And I am telling you now with complete clarity, today is a kairos moment for you. It is no coincidence that you are hearing this. It is no accident that you have arrived here. It was I who brought you to this specific moment because there is an open window in the spiritual world, and I want you to go through it now. Many people live only in chronos time. They think there will always be a tomorrow. They think they can postpone the decision of faith, that they can wait a little longer, that they can procrastinate the answer I am waiting for from them. But I need to teach you a truth that can save your destiny. Kairos moments don't stay open forever. They have a specific duration. It's like a door that I open, but that also closes when the opportune time passes. And when that door closes, it can take years until I open such an opportunity again. Not because I am cruel, not because I don't love you, but because there are seasons in the spiritual world, and you need to learn to recognize your season when it arrives. Think of a farmer. There is a right time to plant. If he plants in the wrong season, the seed doesn't germinate properly. There is a right time to harvest. If he harvests too early, the fruit isn't ripe. If he harvests too late, the fruit rots. The wise farmer doesn't work only with chronos, with clock time. He works with kairos, with the opportune time of the seasons. And I am telling you that today is your season. Today is your time to plant the seed of faith. Today is your time to sign the covenant. Today is your time to receive what I have already released for you. If you let this moment pass, thinking you can do it later, you may be missing the most important window of your life. I know this sounds serious. I know this creates a holy pressure in your heart. But I prefer to tell you the truth now, rather than let you live in illusion. The truth is that there are people who missed their kairos moments because they thought they would always have another chance. They heard my voice calling, felt my presence touching their hearts, realized that something was different, but they said, I will answer later. I will make that decision when I have more time, when I feel more prepared, when things are calmer. And the moment passed. The window closed, and they remained outside looking back with regret, wishing they had seized the opportunity when they had it. I don't want this to happen to you. That's why I'm being so direct, so clear, so specific. Today is your decisive day, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you finish solving that problem. Today, while you listen to me, while my voice still resonates in your heart, while the anointing is still upon these words, opening your spiritual understanding, this is the kairos that I have prepared for you. I moved heaven and earth to bring you to this moment. I removed distractions. I broke down resistance. I opened your spiritual ears so that you could hear what I am saying clearly. You may be thinking, but Lord, why the urgency? Why can't I wait until I feel more ready? And I answer you, because the enemy of your soul also knows that this is a kairos moment. He knows that if you respond today, everything changes. He knows that if you sign the pact now, he loses power over your life. That's why he will try in every way to make you postpone it. He will bring doubts, distractions, excuses, justifications. He will whisper, "You can do it later. It doesn't have to be now." But I am warning you, do not listen to that voice. Recognize the moment I am giving you. Take advantage of this window while it is open. Respond today to the call I am making. Because today is the day of your salvation, your liberation, your miracle manifesting. Now I'm going to reveal something to you that will make everything connect in a powerful way. There's a code I want to give you today. It's not a magic number. It's not superstition. It's not empty numerology. It's a prophetic code that carries deep spiritual meaning and that I want you to use as an activation tool for what is already released to you. That code is 7777, 4 times the number 7. And I need you to understand why this number is so powerful in my kingdom. The number 7 appears in my word more than 700 times. It is not a coincidence. It is intentional. From the beginning, I established 7 as the number of divine perfection, of completeness, of fullness. When I created the heavens and the earth, I worked for 6 days, and on the 7th I rested. Not because I was tired, but because creation was complete. The 7th day represented the perfection of the work done. Everything that needed to be done was done. It was perfect, it was complete, it was full. The number 7 became the seal of the finished work. When I commanded the people to march around Jericho, how many times did I tell them to march on the 7th day? 7 times. And what happened on the 7th time? The walls fell. The fortress that seemed invincible collapsed. The impossible obstacle was removed. In the 7th moment, at the perfect time, victory was manifested. When Peter asked me how many times he should forgive, I answered 70 times 7. It wasn't literal mathematics. It was me saying, forgiveness must be complete, perfect, without limits. The number 7 always represents the complete action of God in someone's life. But now, I want you to understand what it means when I multiply 7. When I give you not just 1 7, but 4 7s together. 7,777. It's perfection multiplied. It's completeness in all areas. It's me saying, it's not just one area of your life that will be restored. It's all of them. Your financial life, complete. Your physical health, complete. Your relationships, complete. Your purpose, complete. Your inner peace, complete. 7,777 is the code of total restoration. It's the number that represents my desire to bless you not halfway, not in parts, but completely. I want you to see this number as a spiritual password. When you declare it with faith, you are entering into agreement with my perfect will for your life. You are saying, I accept the completeness that God is offering. I receive the perfection that He has already released. I align myself with HIS perfect timing. It is not the number itself that has power. It is the faith with which you declare it. It is the agreement you establish when you use this code as a spiritual point of contact. In my word, I have always used points of contact. Noah's Ark, the bronze serpent, the saliva in the blind man's eye, the cloak that touched the woman. These were not magical objects. They were points of contact for faith to connect with my power. And I am giving you today the number 7,777 as your point of contact. When you declare this number, you are not performing an empty ritual. You are making a prophetic decree. You are activating in the spiritual world that which I have already prepared. You are releasing through your mouth the word of faith that moves the celestial forces in your favor. Remember what I said? Death and life are in the power of the tongue. The words you speak have creative power. They are not just sounds in the air, they are decrees that shape your spiritual reality and then manifest in natural reality. Therefore, I want you to use this code now. Go to the comments and write 7,777 as a prophetic decree that you accept the complete restoration that I have already released upon your life. Don't do this automatically. Don't do it just to obey. Do it with awareness of what you are declaring. When you type these 4 sevens, you are saying, I believe that God has already completed my provision, my healing, my restoration, my purpose. I receive His perfection manifested in all areas of my life. I activate by the power of my declaration that which He has already signed with His blood. This is the power of code 7777. It's not magic. It's faith in action. It's your mouth agreeing with my will. And when heaven and earth agree, miracles happen. I need to teach you now about a law that governs my kingdom. It's not a suggestion. It's not a recommendation. It's not something that works sometimes and sometimes doesn't. It's a spiritual law as fixed and reliable as the natural laws you know. When you drop an object in the air, it falls. That's not a whim. It's gravity. It's a natural law that always works, everywhere, for everyone. It doesn't matter if you believe in it or not. It operates. In the same way, there are spiritual laws that govern how things work in my kingdom. And the law I want you to understand today is this: active faith, doubt cancels. This is not a punishment. It's not me being cruel or demanding. It's simply how things work in the spiritual world. Faith is the key that opens the door to manifestation. Doubt is the lock that keeps that door closed. I have already released everything you need. It's already ready. It's already available. It's already waiting for you. But there is a door between the spiritual world, where I have already prepared everything, and the natural world where you live. And that door only opens with a specific key, the key of faith. When you believe, the door opens, and what is invisible crosses into the visible. When you doubt, the door remains locked, and you stay outside looking at something that is already yours, but that you cannot access. Look what happened to Peter. He was in the boat when he saw me walking on the water. I called him to come to me, and as long as Peter kept his eyes on me, as long as he believed it was possible, he walked on what should have sunk him. Faith suspended the laws of nature. But the moment he looked away, the moment doubt entered, what happened? He began to sink. It wasn't me who made him sink as punishment. It was the spiritual law at work. Faith kept him afloat. Doubt pulled him down. Simple as that. Straightforward as that. Look, Thomas, all the disciples saw that I had risen. But Thomas wasn't there, and he said, I will only believe if I touch the nail marks. He placed conditions on his conditions of faith. He said, I need to see to believe. And I appeared to him, not because he deserved it, but because I am merciful. But after he touched and believed, I said something very important. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. Why? Because those who believe without seeing are operating under the correct spiritual law. They are not waiting for the natural manifestation to then believe. They believe first, and then the manifestation happens afterwards. That is the right order. Faith first, sight later. Now look at the woman with the flow of blood. 12 years of suffering. 12 years spending everything on doctors who couldn't cure her. But when she heard about me, something happened in her heart. A faith arose. She didn't ask permission. She didn't wait for me to call her name. She simply believed that if she touched the edge of my garment, she would be healed. And what did I say to her after the healing manifested? Your faith saved you. It wasn't my desire to heal her that made the difference, because I wanted to heal everyone there. It was her faith that activated the power that was already available. She used the correct key to open the door to the miracle. Do you understand what I'm teaching you? It's not about you deserving the miracle. It's not about you being perfect enough, good enough, holy enough. It's about you believing. Faith isn't a feeling of absolute certainty where you never have any doubt. Faith is a choice you make even when doubts try to scream. It's you saying, I choose to believe in God's word above what I see. I choose to trust in His promise above my circumstances. I choose to activate faith and not give power to doubt. I know doubt will come. It comes to everyone. It came to Peter. It came to Thomas. It's probably coming to you right now as you listen to me. But I am teaching you that you are not obligated to listen to it. You can acknowledge doubt and choose faith anyway. Share this message with someone who needs to understand this spiritual law. Because when you teach what you have learned, you strengthen your own faith. Doubt closes, faith opens. It's simple, it's powerful. It's the law that governs my kingdom. And now that you know this, you have a responsibility. You can continue letting doubt lock your doors, or you can start today using the key of faith to open everything I have already prepared for you. Before I continue teaching you about the miracle, I need to address something deep within your heart, something that prevents you from fully receiving what I have already released. It's the issue of your identity, because you have been living with a false identity. An identity built by your circumstances, your mistakes, the words others have spoken about you, the disappointments you have experienced. And this false identity is blocking the complete manifestation of what I have already prepared for you. That's why I need to destroy this deceitful identity today and reveal to you who you really are. You've been seeing yourself as a failure, someone who tries and fails, someone who dreams but never achieves. You look at your past and see only a list of failed attempts, projects that didn't materialize, relationships that ended, opportunities that closed, and you started to believe that this is your identity. You started to present yourself as the person who always falls behind, who always fights but never wins, who always works but never prospers. But I'm telling you today that this is not who you are. This is just a season you went through. This is just a chapter of your story, not the whole story. This is just a preparatory phase, not your eternal identity. Your true identity is not built by your circumstances. It is decreed by me, and I see you in a completely different way than you have seen yourself. When I look at you, I don't see flaws. I see the son, the daughter I chose before the foundation of the world. I don't see past mistakes. I see the glorious purpose I placed within you. I don't see lack, want, or deficiency. I see someone complete in me, someone who already has everything they need because they are connected with me. You need to understand that the way I see you is the truth. The way you have seen yourself is the lie. The enemy of your soul has worked for years to build a distorted image of who you are. He has shown you only your failures and hidden your potential. He has magnified your flaws and minimized your gifts. He has made you believe that you are defined by the worst moments of your life instead of being defined by what I dreamed for you. And today I am breaking that lying mirror. I am destroying that false identity. I am freeing you from the prison of distorted self-perception. Listen to what I decree over you now. You are not rejected. You are chosen. You are not unworthy. You are precious in my eyes. You are not a failure. You are in the process of victory. You are not broken beyond repair. You are being restored by my hands. You are not defined by what you have lost. You are defined by what I will give you. You are not the sum of your mistakes. You are the manifestation of my love, my grace, my transforming power. And I need you to understand something very important. The miracle that I will manifest in your life will not give you an identity. The miracle will confirm the identity that you already have in me. Many people think that when the miracle comes, they will finally feel valuable, finally feel worthy, finally feel accepted. But that's the opposite of how it works. When you first receive the revelation of who you are in me, when you first anchor your identity in who I say you are, then the miracle flows naturally. Because the miracle doesn't create your identity releases the miracle. You are a son, you are a daughter, you are an heir to everything I have. You bear my image. You are a temple of my spirit. You are an ambassador of my kingdom. You are victorious, even before victory manifests, because victory lies in your identity, not in your circumstances. Like this video and subscribe now to continue receiving messages that will free you from every false identity and reveal who you truly are in me. When you live from this true identity, everything changes. What was blocked opens. What was locked is released. What was impossible becomes possible. Because you are no longer begging like an orphan. You are receiving as a son, as a daughter, as a legitimate heir to everything I have already prepared for you. I know there's a deep pain in your heart that you rarely let anyone see. A pain you hide behind forced smiles, automatic responses when someone asks how you are. A mask you wear to survive day to day. But I'm seeing beyond that mask. Now, I'm seeing the real wound. And I won't do what so many people have done to you. I won't minimize it. I won't tell you to just get over it. I won't pretend your pain isn't real, because it is real, and I was there when it happened. I saw when you were rejected by someone who promised to stay. I was there the night you cried alone, thinking no one cared. I felt your shame when you failed publicly, and the people who should have supported you judged you instead. I heard the cruel words that were said about you, the false accusations, the unfair labels that stuck to your identity like invisible tattoos. I saw when you lost something that seemed impossible to recover, your marriage, your business, your health, your hope. And I saw when you tried to be too strong, too fast, and ended up breaking inside in ways no one else noticed. Perhaps you grew up in a home where love was conditional, where you were only valued when you performed well, when you met expectations, when you didn't cause problems. And now you carry a deep belief that you need to deserve love, that you need to be perfect to be accepted, that a single mistake will make me abandon you like others did. But I'm telling you that belief is a lie born of pain. I am not like the people who hurt you. My love is unconditional. My acceptance doesn't depend on your performance. I chose you on your worst days, not just your best. Perhaps you were abused. Perhaps someone who should have protected you hurt you in the deepest possible ways. And now you carry a shame that isn't yours, a stain that was placed upon you, but that you feel is part of who you are. I want you to hear this clearly. What was done to you does not define who you are. The shame is not yours. The guilt is not yours. The sin was theirs, not yours. And I am here to cleanse you of all the contamination that was placed upon you without your consent. I see you as pure, as clean, as completely restorable, no matter what happened. Perhaps you've lost someone you love deeply, and the people around you expect you've already moved on, that you're okay again. But inside, you're still bleeding. Inside, there are still moments when the pain is so intense you can barely breathe, and you feel guilty for still suffering, as if it meant your faith is weak. But I'm telling you, grief is not a lack of faith. Mourning is not a sin. Crying is not weakness. Even I cried when Lazarus died, even knowing that I would resurrect him. Pain is part of being human, and I'm not condemning you for feeling what you feel. The truth is, I saw every tear, every sleepless night, every anxiety attack, every moment you wanted to give up but chose to take one more step. I saw the strength that no one else saw because it was happening invisibly inside you. I saw when you had to smile at work while your world was crumbling. I saw when you had to be strong for your children while you yourself were shattered. I saw when you cried out to me in the solitude of your room and thought I didn't answer, but I was answering. Every breath you managed to take was me sustaining you. Every day you didn't give up was my power keeping you standing. If this message touched your heart in a way that no one else could, leave a like now as a sign that you are allowing me to heal these deep wounds. I didn't bring you here to leave you in pain. I brought you here to validate your pain first, so that I can then heal it in the right way. A wound that is not acknowledged cannot be treated correctly. But now that I have acknowledged what you went through, now that I have validated that your suffering was real, I can begin the process of true healing. And I promise, the healing I bring is not superficial. It goes to the root. Now that I have validated your pain, now that I have acknowledged what you have been through, the time has come for me to decree upon you the truth of who you truly are. And when I decree something, it is not an opinion, it is not a suggestion, it is not a wish or a possibility. It is an absolute declaration that comes from the throne of the universe. It is a word that creates reality. That is how I brought the world into existence. I spoke, and things that did not exist began to exist. I decree, and what I decree becomes. And today, I am decreeing upon your life, upon your identity, upon your future. And these decrees will not fail. I decree that you are not rejected. You are chosen. Before the foundation of the world, I saw you and I chose you, not because you were perfect, not because you deserved it, but because I wanted you. I desired you. I specifically selected you from billions of possibilities, and I said, "This is my son, this is my daughter, and what I have chosen, no one can reject. What I have set apart for myself, no one can disqualify. Your identity as chosen is sealed by my blood, and nothing and no one can change that. I decree that you are not unworthy. You are precious in my eyes. Your worth was not determined by the people who despised you. Your worth was determined by the price I paid for you, and I paid the highest possible price. I gave my own life. This means that in my eyes, you are worth everything. You are not worth little. You are not worth less than others. You are worth the blood of the Son of God. And that is the real value, the eternal value, the value that no one can diminish. I declare that you are not a failure. You are victorious. Even if you have fallen 1,000 times, I will lift you up 1,001 times. Even if you have failed in previous attempts, I will give you new opportunities. Your past failures do not determine your future success. What determines your success is my presence with you, and I am with you. I go before you. I prepare the way. I open doors that no one can close. And where I go, victory always happens. So, you are not a failure. You are in the process of victory that is already guaranteed. I decree that you are not broken beyond repair. You are being restored by my hands. I am the God who takes the pieces and rebuilds something even more beautiful than it was before. I specialize in rebuilding lives. I rebuild marriages. I rebuild businesses. I rebuild health. I rebuild hope. I rebuild dreams. And what I rebuild becomes stronger than the original. The areas where you were broken will become the areas of greatest strength in your life. I decree that you are not condemned to repeat the cycles of the past. You are entering into newness. Cycles of poverty are broken. Cycles of illness are broken. Cycles of abandonment are broken. Cycles of failure are broken. I am bringing you into a completely new season where the old rules no longer apply, where the old limitations no longer work, where you will experience things you have never experienced before, because I am doing a new work in your life. I decree that you will not die without fulfilling your purpose. You were created with a specific mission that only you can fulfill. There are people waiting for what I have placed within you. There are lives that will be transformed by your testimony. There are generations that will be blessed by the obedience you will and demonstrate. And I will keep you alive, healthy, strong, and empowered until everything I have planned for you is completely fulfilled. I decree that you will not end up lacking. You will end up in abundance. The provision I am bringing is not just for you to survive, it is for you to prosper. It is for you to have enough for yourself and enough to be generous with others. It is for you to experience God's generosity in such a real way that you will become a channel of generosity to those around you. If you agree with these decrees I have just spoken about your life, leave your like now as your amen, as your agreement that activates in the spiritual world everything I have declared. When you agree with what I decree, you release the manifestation, you activate the reality. You align the natural world with what I have already established in the spiritual world. So agree with me now and receive everything I have just decreed about you. There's a voice that's been speaking in your mind for a long time, a voice that doesn't stop. A voice that constantly reminds you of every mistake you've ever made, every failure of your past, every moment you didn't live up to your potential. It's a voice that accuses you relentlessly. It tells you that you're a hypocrite because you pray but still have flaws. It tells you that you're worthless because you failed again. It tells you that I am disappointed in you, that I am tired of you, that I will abandon you as others have done. And I need you to know today who owns that voice. It's not me, it's the accuser. The Bible calls Satan the accuser of the brethren. He stands before me day and night, accusing my children. He takes your mistakes and amplifies them. He takes your weaknesses and uses them as evidence that you don't deserve my grace. He builds entire cases against you, using fragments of truth mixed with mountains of lies. And his strategy is simple. If he can keep you trapped in guilt, shame, and constant accusation, he paralyzes you. You stop moving forward. You stop believing. You stop receiving. Because you spend all your time trying to defend yourself, trying to prove that you are worthy, trying to compensate for your mistakes. But I came here today to silence this accuser once and for all. I came to destroy the accusations that have been raised against you, and I have full authority to do this because I have already paid the full price for your sins. Every mistake you have ever made, I have already taken to the cross. Every failure that torments you, I have already borne. Every accusation that the enemy raises against you, I answer with my blood. And my blood is the final answer that silences every accuser. When the enemy says, you are worthless, I say, my blood has purified you. When he says, you are filthy, I say, my blood has washed you clean. When he says, you have failed too much, I say, my blood covers all your failings. When he says you don't deserve forgiveness, I say forgiveness isn't about deserving. It's about what I did for you. And what I did is enough. It's complete. It's final. There is no more condemnation for those who are in me. None. no exceptions. No buts and ifs, no condemnation. You need to learn to differentiate between the voice of the accuser and the voice of my spirit. The accuser reminds you of the past to destroy you. My spirit convinces you of the present to restore you. The accuser tells you that you have always been this way and always will be. My spirit tells you that you were this way, but I am transforming you. The accuser leaves you desperate, without a way out, drowning in guilt. My spirit brings you closer to me, shows you the way back, offers you grace and power to change. The accuser pushes you away. I bring you closer, and I am decreeing now over your life that no accusation raised against you will prosper. No voice that rises in judgment against you will prevail, because I have already judged your case, and the verdict is innocent, not because you never sinned, but because I paid your debt. I took your place, I received your condemnation, and now you are free, completely free, totally justified, declared righteous before the court of heaven. Every shame the enemy tried to attach to you, I am removing now. Every guilt he used to paralyze you, I am canceling now. Every accusatory thought that has stolen your peace, I am destroying now. You no longer need to live defending yourself. You no longer need to try to prove that you are worthy. You no longer need to carry the weight of the accusations, because I have already answered them all with my blood, and my blood speaks louder than any accusation. So when the voice of the accuser comes again, and it will try to come, you will know exactly what to do. You will not debate with it. You will not try to justify yourself. You will simply point to the cross and say, Jesus has already paid. You will declare the blood of Jesus over your life, and that blood will silence every accusatory voice, because there is no argument that can stand against the complete sacrifice that I made for you. Share this video now with someone you know who is being tormented by accusations, because when you free others from the prison of guilt, you strengthen your own freedom. I didn't bring you here for you to live under accusation. I brought you to the light, where there is no longer a shadow of condemnation. I brought you to freedom, where the accuser no longer has power. And in that freedom, you will finally be able to receive everything I have prepared for you without guilt blocking the way. Now I need to talk about something that may be the biggest lie you've ever believed. The lie that there's something you've done that's beyond my forgiveness. The lie that you've sinned too much, that you've gone too far, that you've crossed a line I can no longer reach. And I am here today to destroy that lie once and for all, because there is no sin too great for my forgiveness. There is no mistake too deep for my grace. There is no past too dark for my light. My forgiveness has no limits. My mercy is endless. And if you are still breathing, there is still time to start over completely forgiven. You look at what you've done and think that I could never accept you back. You carry secrets that you're sure anyone would reject you forever if they knew. You've made mistakes that make you feel unworthy to even speak my name. But I want to show you something. Look at David. He committed adultery with another man's wife, and when she became pregnant, he had her husband killed to cover up the sin. That's adultery and murder. That's betrayal and manipulation. And yet, I forgave David. I not only forgave him, I called him a man after my own heart. I maintained the lineage of the Messiah through him. I transformed the worst moment of his life into part of the story of redemption. Look at Paul. Before I met him, he persecuted my church. He imprisoned my children. He was present when Stephen was stoned to death, approving of the murder. He breathed threats. He caused untold suffering to my followers, and I forgave him. I not only forgave him, I transformed him into the greatest apostle who ever lived. I used the same zeal he had for destruction to build my kingdom. I wrote half of the New Testament through a former persecutor. Look at Peter. He was with me for 3 years. He saw my miracles. He heard my teachings. He promised he would never abandon me, that he would die for me if necessary. And then, in my darkest hour, when I needed him most, he denied me 3 times. He said he didn't even know me, and I forgave him. I not only forgave him, I made him the rock upon which I would build my church. I gave him the keys to the kingdom. I transformed the man who denied me into the leader who opened the doors of the gospel. Do you understand what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter how many times you've fallen. It doesn't matter how far you've gone. My forgiveness is greater. My grace is stronger. My love is deeper than anything you could have done. Religion will tell you that you've sinned too much. Religion will keep you trapped in guilt and shame. But I am not religion. I am redemption. And redemption means that I not only forgive what you've done, I transform it into part of your victory story. You need to understand the difference between human forgiveness and divine forgiveness. Human forgiveness says, it's okay, let's forget it. Divine forgiveness says, I will take the worst of your past and redeem it. I will use your scars to heal others. I will use your testimony of fall and restoration to free people who are stuck where you were. I will transform your mess into your message, your trial into your testimony, your misery into your ministry. The enemy wants you to believe that your past disqualifies you, but I say that your past, once redeemed, qualifies you in a unique way, because you will be able to reach people that others cannot reach. You will be able to speak with authority to those who are where you were. You will be able to say, I know what it's like to be at rock bottom, and I know there is a way out, because I got out. Subscribe to this channel now to continue receiving messages that will guide you through each step of your journey to complete healing and total restoration. When I forgive you, I don't do it halfway. I don't leave behind any residue of guilt. I don't keep a file of your sins to use against you later. When I forgive, I forget. I cast your sins into the depths of the sea. I remove them from you as far as the east is from the west, and I never remember them again. So stop punishing yourself for what I have already forgiven. Stop disqualifying yourself for what I have already redeemed. Stop living as a guilty person when I have already declared you innocent. Forgiveness is available now. Restoration begins today. And what I do with you after I forgive you will be so glorious that people will look at your life and say, only God could have done this. Only God could have taken that mess and transformed it into this. And they will be right. Because I am the God of impossibilities. And restoring you completely is one of my favorite miracles. I did my part. I met you where you were. I validated your pain. I declared your true identity. I silenced the accuser. I offered you complete and total forgiveness. I opened the prison doors where you have been living. I broke the chains that held you captive. I removed the accusations. I canceled the debt. I paid the price. I did everything that needed to be done for your freedom to be available. But now comes the most important moment of this entire journey, the moment where you need to do your part. Because I respect your free will, I will not force you out of prison. I will not force you to accept forgiveness. I will not drag you into healing against your will. The door is open, but you need to choose to walk through it. There's a story in the gospel that I need to remind you of. I approached a man who had been paralyzed for 38 years. 38 years, waiting for a miracle. And the first thing I asked him seems obvious, but it isn't. I asked, do you want to be healed? It seems like a strange question. Of course he wants to be healed, right? But I ask this question because there are people who become so accustomed to their imprisonment that they are afraid of freedom. There are people who identify so much with pain that they don't know who they would be without it. There are people who use the victim as their identity and are afraid of losing that identity if they are healed. So I ask you today in the same way, do you want to be healed? Do you want to be free? Do you want to leave prison? Or would you rather stay where you are, complaining about prison, but secretly afraid to leave it? When I brought the people of Israel out of Egypt, I parted the Red Sea, I destroyed Pharaoh's army, I freed them from slavery. But then I began sending manna from heaven every day, supernatural food, divine provision. But there was an important detail. The manna did not fall inside their tents. It fell outside. This meant they had to go out of their tents, collect the manna, and take it inside. I provided. But they had to act. I performed the miracle, but they had to participate. That's exactly what's happening in your life right now. I've already done the supernatural part. I've already provided forgiveness, healing, deliverance, restoration. It's all available. But you need to accept it. You need to get out of the victim mentality and get into the victorious mentality. You need to stop defining yourself by your mistakes and start defining yourself by what I say you are. You need to release the guilt that I've already canceled. You need to let go of the shame that I've already removed. You need to abandon the accusations that I've already silenced. And I know this isn't easy, because accepting healing means accepting responsibility. It means you can no longer blame circumstances. You can no longer blame the past. You can no longer use your wounds as an excuse not to move forward. Accepting freedom means that now you are free, and free people have to make free choices. Free people have to take responsibility for their own lives. Free people no longer have the luxury of living in the role of victim. If you are making the decision now to accept everything I offered, to leave prison even with the door open, leave your life as a pact between me and you, that you will no longer live as a prisoner. But I need to warn you, if you choose not to accept, if you choose to stay in prison even with the door open, I will still love you. I will still be available, but you will continue living in prison, not because I kept you there, but because you chose to stay, and the consequences of that choice will be yours, not mine. So I am giving you the key today, the key to your freedom, the key to your forgiveness, the key to your healing, the key to your restoration. You decide whether you will use this key or whether you will continue looking at it while remaining trapped. You decide whether you will walk through the open door or whether you will sit beside it, complaining that you are trapped. You decide whether you will gather the manna that I am sending or whether you will starve to death, looking at it from outside the tent. And when you make that choice, when you accept what I am offering, something powerful will happen in the spiritual world, because acceptance activates liberation, agreement activates manifestation. When you say yes to me, I say yes to you in ways that go beyond what you can imagine. But it all begins with your choice, your decision, your acceptance. So choose today, life or death, blessing or curse, prison or freedom. The choice has always been yours, and I am waiting to see what you will decide. Now I need to ask you a question that will reveal the true state of your heart. Are you seeking me, or are you seeking what I can give you? Do you want me, or do you want the miracle? Do you want my presence, or do you only want my provision? Because there is a gigantic difference between these two things. And this difference determines everything about how I will act in your life. Most people only seek me when they need something. When they are sick, they seek me for healing. When they are financially broken, they seek me for provision. When they are in crisis, they seek me for deliverance. But when the miracle happens, when the need is met, they disappear. They didn't want me. They wanted my hand, not my face. They wanted what I can do, not who I am. This happened when I was on earth in human form. There was a huge crowd following me, thousands of people, and I turned to them and said something that deeply confronted them. I said, "You are not following me because of the signs. You are following me because I multiplied the loaves, and you ate and were satisfied. You want a me because I can solve your problems, but you don't want a me for who I am." And when I began to teach deeper truths, most left. Because they wanted bread, they didn't want transformation. I wrote something very clear in the scriptures. I said, "Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you." Do you see the order? First the kingdom, first me, first the relationship, first intimacy, first my will, first my presence. And then, as a natural consequence, everything else you need will be added to you. But the order cannot be reversed. You cannot seek things first and seek me afterwards. Because when you do that, you turn the relationship into a transaction. You treat me like a miracle salesman, not like a father. Comment now, "I will seek first your kingdom." If you are making the commitment today to seek me for who I am, not just for what I can give you, I don't want to be your last, a resort. I don't want to be the God you only remember when you're desperate. I want to be your first choice, your daily priority, the center of your life. And when I become that, when you seek me first, something supernatural happens. The things you were desperately chasing begin to chase after you. The provision you were trying to force begins to flow naturally. The miracles you were begging for begin to happen without you having to beg. Because when I am the priority, I become responsible for everything else. But first, you need to seek me, not the miracle, me. Let me explain to you how this spiritual law works. When I say that all things will be added to you, I am talking about a powerful principle that most people don't understand. To add means to increase. It means that you don't need to chase these things. You don't need to fight for them. You don't need to desperately strive to get them. When you set the right priority, when you seek me first, I automatically add everything else that you need. This is not magic. This is a spiritual principle that I established from the beginning. It is a law of my kingdom. Just as gravity works in the physical world, the law of divine addition works in the spiritual world. When you position yourself correctly, when you align your life with my will, when I become your number one priority, the things you need begin to align themselves. The difference is enormous. Most people work to get things. They strive, wear themselves out, exhaust themselves trying to achieve provision, success, relationships, health. But when you seek me first, you work from a place of rest. You work knowing that I am already taking care of everything. You act without anxiety, without despair, without fear of failing. Because you know that if I am your priority, I become responsible for adding everything else. Leave your light now as a pledge that you will put the kingdom first and trust that I will add everything else you need. Think of it this way. When you put my kingdom first, your relationships align with my will. Your finances begin to flow with my provision. Your health begins to reflect my life. Your opportunities begin to appear at the right time. Not because you are chasing after them, but because I am adding them. And when I add, no one can subtract. When I build, no one can destroy. When I open, no one can close. So stop chasing and start positioning. The right priority generates automatic provision. Now I need to ask you the most important question of all. and I want you to be brutally honest with me and with yourself. What are you seeking, or who are you seeking? Are you after the things I can give you, or are you after me? Because that difference is not small. That difference defines whether you are living in the kingdom or whether you are living in idolatry disguised as religion. When you pray, what do you talk about? Do you spend the entire prayer asking me for things, presenting me with lists of needs, demanding promises from me? Or do you seek my face? Do you want my presence? Do you desire to know me more deeply? Because prayer based on lists of requests is not a relationship, it's a transaction. It's treating me like a celestial salesperson who exists to fulfill demands. Let me give you a test. If I gave you nothing besides myself, would I be enough for you? If I said, you won't have the financial miracle, you won't have the physical healing, you won't have the relationship you want, but you will have me, would that be enough? Or would you leave disappointed, searching for another God who would give you what you want? This answer reveals everything about where your heart is. Seeking what is idolatry? Because when things become more important than me, those things become your gods. And you may be singing praises, attending church, reading the Bible, but if your heart is fixed on things and not on me, you are worshiping idols. Seeking WHO is the kingdom. It means saying, I want you more than I want. Anything you can give me. I want you in good times and bad times. I want you when there is provision and when there is scarcity. I want you above all things. Share this video now if you are making the decision to seek WHO and not just what, and help others discover this transformative truth. So I ask you again, what or WHO? Examine your heart. Be honest, because your answer determines everything about how I will operate in your life from now on. I know what's happening inside you right now. You heard the promises, you felt the hope, you believed the miracle was coming, but something is eating you up inside. Anxiety, that desperate feeling that time is passing and nothing is changing. That tightness in your chest when you look at the calendar and realize that another month, another year has passed and the situation remains the same. That voice that whispers, will I really fulfill what I promised? Have I forgotten you? Let me explain the difference between human anxiety and divine peace. Anxiety is what happens when you try to control something that is not in your hands. It's when you become obsessed with the when instead of trusting the WHO. It's when you monitor every detail, every sign, every possibility, trying to force the miracle to happen in your time. Anxiety makes you wake up in the middle of the night with a racing heart. It makes you compulsively check if something has changed. It makes you create emergency plans because you don't trust that I will actually show up. Divine peace is completely different. It's a peace that doesn't make logical sense. It's a peace that exists even when circumstances haven't changed yet. It's a peace that allows you to sleep peacefully while the storm is still raging outside. I wrote in the scriptures about this peace. I said it's the peace that surpasses all understanding. Do you know what that means? It means that this peace doesn't depend on you understanding how I'm going to do it. It doesn't depend on you seeing the signs that it's happening. It doesn't depend on you having all the answers. This peace exists because you trust in me, not because you understand the process. The root of your anxiety isn't the difficult situation. The root of your anxiety is that you don't completely trust my timing. You think I'm late. You think I should have acted yesterday. You think that if I really cared, I would have already solved it. But let me tell you something that will completely change your perspective. I am never late, never. I always arrive at the right time. The problem is that your clock is showing human time, and I operate on divine time. When Lazarus was sick, his sisters sent for me. They said, "Lord, the one you love is sick." It was an emergency. It was urgent. But I didn't rush. I waited 2 whole days, and when I finally arrived, Lazarus had been dead for 4 days. Martha said to me, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." She was saying, "You arrived late." But I didn't arrive late. I arrived exactly at the right time to do something much greater than healing a sick person. I arrived at the right time to raise a dead man. Your problem seems overdue from your perspective, but from my perspective, it's perfectly on time. Because I'm not just solving your problem, I'm preparing a miracle. And miracles don't happen on your timing, they happen on mine. So, when anxiety comes, and it will come, I want you to make a conscious choice. I want you to trade anxiety for my peace. It's not a feeling that comes naturally, it's a decision you make. Share this video now with someone who needs to exchange anxiety for peace and be a channel for the supernatural tranquility that only I can give. You decide to stop trying to control the timing and start trusting the controller of time. You decide to stop obsessively monitoring circumstances and start resting in my sovereignty. You decide to let go of the need to understand how and embrace trust in WHOM. And when you make this exchange, something supernatural happens. Anxiety loses its power, fear loses its voice, and a peace that makes no logical sense begins to fill your heart. Not because the situation has changed, but because your trust in me has become greater than your fear of the circumstances. So make the exchange today. Anxiety for my peace, despair for my trust, control for my rest, because I promise you, I am never late. I always arrive at the perfect time. Let me give you a revelation that will completely change how you see waiting. Your miracle is like a baby being conceived. It's in gestation. And just as a mother can't force a baby to be born in 3 months because she's in a hurry, you can't force your miracle to manifest before its formation time is complete. Every gestation has a time. 9 months. It's non-negotiable. It's not optional. It's the time necessary for something complete, healthy, and viable to come into the world. When a woman discovers she is pregnant, she doesn't see anything in the first few months. Her belly hasn't grown yet. The baby hasn't kicked yet. But something profound is happening in her womb. Cells are multiplying. Organs are being formed. A tiny heart begins to beat. Hands and feet are being sculpted. A complete human being is being created from scratch. All of this happens in the invisible. The mother doesn't see it, but she trusts the process. She knows that even without visible evidence, life is being formed inside her. That's exactly how it is with your miracle. I am forming something in the invisible, in the spiritual womb, in the realm you cannot see with your natural eyes. I am building, shaping, preparing your miracle. Each passing day is not a lost day. It is a day of formation. It is a day where essential pieces are being put in place. It is a day where supernatural connections are being established. It is a day where I am aligning people, circumstances, resources, and timing so that when your miracle is born, it comes complete. The problem is that most people want to abort the process. They get impatient in the 3rd month and say, "Nothing is happening, I give up." They want to force the birth before it's time because they can't wait. But let me tell you what happens when you try to force something to be born before its time. It comes incomplete. It comes fragile. It comes premature. It comes with complications, and often it doesn't survive. But when you wait for the full gestation period, when you trust the process, even without seeing, When you rest knowing that I am working in the invisible, what is born comes strong, it comes healthy, it comes complete, it comes to stay. Every stage of pregnancy has a purpose. In the first trimester, the structure is being established. In the second trimester, development is accelerating. In the third trimester, final maturation is taking place. If you interrupt any of these stages, you compromise the final outcome. I know it's hard to wait. I know there are days when you look around and see no change at all. I know there are moments when you wonder if something is really being formed. But I tell you, trust the process. Your miracle is gestating. And when the right time comes, when the formation is complete, birth will be inevitable. No one needs to force a baby to be born when the time is right. It comes naturally, powerfully, inevitably. And it's exactly like that with your miracle. When the gestation period ends, when everything is ready in the invisible, your miracle will burst into the visible with a force that no one will be able to stop. It will be born at the right time, complete, perfect, exactly as I planned. Comment 7,777 now to supernaturally activate divine timing for your miracle and declare that you trust in the gestation process that I am guiding. So don't abort your miracle out of impatience. Don't give up in the 7th month thinking that nothing will happen. Don't force the birth before it's time because you are tired of waiting. Trust in the gestation process. Rest knowing that I am forming something powerful in the invisible. And prepare your heart, because when the time is right, you will hold in your arms the miracle that I promised, and it will be worth every day of waiting. I need to teach you about something that most people completely misunderstand: rest. When I talk about rest, you probably think of doing nothing, standing still, being passive, crossing your arms and waiting. But spiritual rest has nothing to do with inactivity. Rest is a state, it's a posture of the heart. It's the conscious decision to stop trying to do, through your own effort, what only I can do supernaturally. In the scriptures I said, "Be still and know that I am God." Being still doesn't mean becoming mute and still like a statue. It means ceasing the frantic effort. It means stopping trying to control everything. It means letting go of the reins and trusting that I am in control. Rest is when you stop rowing desperately against the current and let me steer the boat. It's when you stop making contingency plans because you trust that I already have the perfect plan. It's when you stop losing sleep, trying to solve everything alone and sleep in peace, knowing that I never sleep and am taking care of everything. Let me show you the contrast. Desperate human effort is anxiety in motion. It's you running around trying to make things happen. It's you forcing doors I haven't opened. It's you manipulating circumstances because you don't trust I will intervene. It's you living in constant fight mode, exhausted, drained, because you're carrying a weight that was never yours to carry. This effort doesn't produce miracles. It produces exhaustion. It produces frustration. It produces empty results that don't last. Spiritual rest is confidence in action. It's continuing to live, work, move, but without anxiety, without despair, without the need to control every detail. It's doing your part with peace, knowing that I am doing my part in the invisible realm. It's working without exhausting yourself. It's waiting without despairing. It's trusting without needing to see all the evidence. This rest releases my power, because when you stop trying to do everything alone, I have space to act supernaturally. Remember the story of Moses at the Red Sea? The people were trapped. The Egyptian army was coming after them. The sea was impossible to cross. They panicked. They started shouting, complaining, and creating desperate survival plans. pure human effort trying to solve the impossible. But I told Moses, tell the people to stand firm and see the deliverance that I will work today. They didn't need to swim. They didn't need to fight. They didn't need to build boats. They needed to rest and let me act. And when they rested, I opened the sea. That's exactly how it is with you. You are facing a Red Sea, an impossible situation, and you are trying to swim through it through sheer effort. You are exhausting yourself trying to build human bridges, but I am telling you, stop, rest, quiet your heart. Trust that I will open the way in a way you can't even imagine. Because when you enter into spiritual rest, you get out of my way and allow me to work without interference. Here is the powerful truth. Your desperate effort blocks my supernatural action. Because while you are trying to resolve things on a human level, I cannot intervene on a divine level. But when you rest, when you let go of control, when you stop forcing and begin to trust, I have complete freedom to do what only I can do. I can move mountains. I can open doors that no man can close. I can bring provision from places you didn't even know existed. I can turn around games that seemed lost. But I can only do this when you leave human effort mode and enter spiritual rest mode. Leave your like now and subscribe to the channel to continue learning how to live in this supernatural rest that releases the full power of God in your life. So I invite you today, enter into rest. It's not laziness, it's not passivity, it's not giving up. It's actively trusting that while you rest, I am working. It's sleeping peacefully while I move pieces on the board. It's living without anxiety while I prepare your miracle. Rest and see the deliverance that I will work in your life in a way that only I can do. I know the pain you went through. I saw every tear you shed when no one was watching. I heard every silent scream in the middle of the night. I felt every moment when you thought you couldn't make it through another day. That desert you crossed, that dry season where it seemed like I had abandoned you, those days when you woke up and the first sensation was pain. I was there. I saw everything. And I need to tell you something that will completely change how you see your past. That pain had a purpose. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't punishment. It wasn't me forgetting you. It was preparation, the greparation. Desert is not punishment. It is a school. It is the place where I forge my most powerful warriors. It is where I build character that cannot be built anywhere else. Because in abundance, you learn to celebrate. But in the desert, you learn to trust. In blessing, you learn to give thanks. But in scarcity, you learn to depend on me. On the mountaintop, you sing praises. But in the valley of the shadow of death, you learn that I am your shepherd, and you shall not want. These lessons cannot be learned in a classroom. They can only be learned in the fire. Let me show you something. Joseph spent years unjustly imprisoned, years forgotten, abandoned, slandered. Do you think that was a waste? That was preparation. Because when he finally got out of prison, he didn't come out as a spoiled 17-year-old boy dreaming dreams. He came out as a governor, ready to govern an entire nation during a global crisis. Prison didn't destroy Joseph. Prison shared Joseph. The pain had a purpose. David spent years fleeing in the desert, hiding in caves, pursued by a mad king, hungry, afraid, exhausted. Do you think that was wasted time? That was divine military training. Because when he finally ascended the throne, he was no longer a harp-playing boy. He was a warrior king who knew how to face giants, lead armies, and trust in God when all seemed lost. The desert didn't destroy David. The desert forged David. The pain had a purpose. Even Jesus had to spend 40 days in the desert being tempted before beginning his public ministry. 40 days of fasting, of solitude, of confrontation with the enemy. Do you think that was unnecessary? He was the Son of God. He didn't need preparation, right? Wrong. Even Jesus had to go through the desert, because the desert isn't about ability. It's about authority. It's about being tested and approved. It's about facing the deepest temptations and emerging victorious. Jesus came out of the desert in the power of the Spirit. The pain had a purpose. And that's exactly how it is with you. What you went through wasn't a waste. It wasn't me being cruel. It wasn't the devil winning. It was me preparing you for something bigger than you can imagine. Every betrayal you suffered taught you discernment. Every disappointment taught you not to put your trust in men. Every night of crying taught you that I am the only one who never abandons you. Every closed door taught you that when I close it, it's because I have something better prepared. Every day of scarcity taught you that I am your faithful provider. What seemed like destruction was construction. While you thought your life was crumbling, I was removing everything that was fragile, superficial, and temporary to build in you foundations of rock that no storm can knock down. While you thought you were losing everything, I was freeing you from everything that would prevent you from carrying the weight of the glory I have prepared for you. While you thought you were dying, I was killing the old version of you to resurrect a transformed version. Share this video now to bring healing and a new meaning to the pain for someone who hasn't yet understood that the desert had a divine purpose. So look back today with new eyes. That pain was not in vain. That desert was not punishment. That dry season was not abandonment. It was me preparing you. It was me forging you. It was me, removing the superficial and building the eternal within you. And now that the preparation is complete, now that the formation is finished, you are ready to carry the miracle that I will release. Because the pain had a purpose, and that purpose is about to be revealed. I need you to completely change the way you see what you went through. That wasn't punishment, it was school. And I'm not talking about just any school. I'm talking about my school, the school of suffering, the place where I teach lessons that can't be learned anywhere else. Lessons that aren't in books, lessons that can't be downloaded from the internet, lessons that can only be engraved in your heart through pain. The first lesson I teach in the desert is total dependence. As long as you have your own resources, you depend on yourself. As long as you have backup plans, you trust your plans. But when I take you to a place where nothing works, where all doors are closed, where all resources have dried up, you finally learn to depend only on me. And this lesson is essential, because as long as you have one foot in your own ability and the other foot in me, you will never experience the complete supernatural. But when you have nothing left and discover that I am enough, you graduate in this subject with distinction. The second lesson is discernment. In the desert, you learn to differentiate the voice of God from the voice of man, the voice of the Spirit from the voice of the flesh, real promises from beautiful illusions. Because when you are desperate, many voices appear, offering shortcuts, offering quick solutions, offering doors that I did not open. And in the desert you learn to wait for my voice, to reject what does not come from me, to discern between true gold and fool's gold. This lesson saves you from traps that would destroy your future. The third lesson is spiritual endurance. Spiritual muscle doesn't develop in a comfortable gym. It develops by carrying WEEJHE. And the desert places weight upon you, the weight of prolonged waiting, the weight of promises that seem unfulfilled, the weight of battles that extend longer than you expected. But every day that you endure without giving up, every morning that you wake up and choose to trust, even without seeing, you are developing spiritual muscles that will allow you to carry the weight of the glory that comes after. The fourth lesson is genuine faith. Many people have shopping mall faith, Sunday faith, faith while everything is working. But in the desert, this plastic faith melts away. And what remains is real faith, faith that doesn't depend on circumstances. Faith that doesn't need visible evidence. Faith that says, even if he kills me, I will trust in him. This is the faith that moves mountains, and it can only be forged in the fire of suffering. Let me show you the contrast. There are stage Christians. They know all the songs. They know all the correct theological answers. They post beautiful verses on social media, but they've never been through the desert. They've never been broken. They've never had to trust God when nothing made sense. These Christians are superficial, beautiful, but without deep teeth, without authority, without real power. But there are Christians who are forged. These have been through fire. They were broken and rebuilt. They wept in secret. They fought battles that no one saw. And when they speak of faith, it has weight. When they declare victory, demons tremble. When they pray, the heavens open. Because they didn't learn theology from books. They learned dependence in the desert. They didn't memorize verses. They lived the promises when everything crumbled. These carry an authority that only comes from a diploma from the school of suffering. Leave your light now if you are accepting God's educational process and understanding that you are not being destroyed, but being formed to carry glory. And you are in this school now. Every difficult day is a lesson. Every tear is learning. Every night of anguish is formation. I am not destroying you. I am educating you. I am not punishing you. I am preparing you. And when you graduate from this school, when you leave the desert with your diploma in hand, you will carry an authority that will make hell retreat and heaven respond. So don't give up on school. Don't abandon the course. Accept the process, because I am forming in you something the world has never seen. And this formation requires going through the school of suffering. But I promise, the diploma you will receive is worth every tear you shed. Now I will reveal to you why you had to go through all that. The pain you experienced wasn't just for your personal growth. It wasn't just to strengthen you. It wasn't just to teach you lessons. It had a greater purpose, much greater. Your pain was your empowerment, because I am preparing you for a mission. The mission of liberating those who are crossing the same desert you crossed. The mission of being a voice of hope for those who have lost hope. The mission of being a light in the dark tunnel for someone who can't see the way out. Let me explain how this works. You can't guide someone down a path you've never walked. You can't comfort someone in pain you've never felt. You can't give hope in a situation you've never faced. Empty words don't set anyone free. Beautiful theory doesn't heal deep wounds. But when you, who have walked through the valley of the shadow of death, speak to someone who is in that valley now, your words carry authority, because you're not talking about what you read in a book. You're talking about what you lived. You're talking about what you survived. You're talking about what I did for you when you were exactly where that person is now. Think about it. When you were at rock bottom, who truly helped you? Was it that person who had never suffered anything and gave you a beautiful verse? Or was it that person who looked you in the eyes and said, I know what you're feeling because I've been there, and I'm telling you, you will get through this. The second person touched you because they carried credibility, they had the authority of experience, and now you are that person for someone. You are the one who has already been through the fire and can say with conviction, The fire doesn't destroy you, it purifies you. I am giving you a mission today, a prophetic mission, a mission that will impact multitudes. I want you to be a channel of liberation for all who are going through deserts, because there are thousands of people at this very moment who are where you were, desperate, hopeless, thinking they can't take another day, thinking of giving up, and they need to hear your testimony. They need to know that someone went through what they are going through and survived. They need to see the living proof that I am faithful. They need you. Your testimony is not meant to be kept to yourself. It is not meant to be hidden out of shame or fear of what others will think. Your testimony is a weapon of war. Your testimony is a key to liberation. Your testimony is light for those in darkness. And when you share what I have done for you, when you tell how I pulled you out of the pit, how I sustained you when everything was crumbling, how I fulfilled my promises even when it seemed impossible, you are not just telling a beautiful story, you are breaking chains, you are destroying strongholds of despair, you are implanting faith where there was only fear. I will use your testimony to liberate multitudes. I will use your story of pain transformed into victory to present and reach people who would never enter a church. I will use your tears that were wiped away to wipe away the tears of others. I will use your darkness that was transformed into light to illuminate the paths of others. Because your mission now is not just to live your miracle, it is to be a channel so that others may live their miracle. And you have the authority for this, because you went through the process. You know the pain. You experienced divine faithfulness in the darkest place. Share this video now and accept your mission to be a channel of liberation for all who are going through deserts, because your pain has been transformed into authority to liberate multitudes. So don't keep your testimony to yourself. Don't hide your story. Don't be ashamed of what you went through, because that wasn't your defeat. It was your credential. It was your ministerial diploma. It was your divine authorization to speak powerfully in the lives of those who are suffering now. Accept this mission. Become a voice for those who have lost their voice. Become hope for the hopeless. Become living proof that I am faithful. And I promise, when you begin to fulfill this mission, when you become a channel of liberation, you will understand perfectly why you had to go through all that. Because it wasn't about you. It was about everyone. I will reach through you. I need to teach you about how I work, because most people don't understand my method. They want immediate results. They want to see the miracle now. They want to reap the rewards today. But I don't work that way. I work from the bottom up. I start with the invisible before releasing the visible. And if you don't understand this, you'll give up exactly when I'm doing the most important work of your life. Imagine a tree, a large, strong tree, full of fruit. When you look at it, what impresses you? The branches, the leaves, the fruit, the majestic crown, everything that is visible. But let me tell you what truly sustains that tree. The roots. And where are the roots? Underground, in the invisible. No one sees them, no one applauds them, no one takes a picture of the roots. But without them, the tree wouldn't stand a single day. And here is the secret I want you to understand. The roots always come before the fruit. Always. There is no tree that bears fruit first and then grows roots. The process is roots first, fruit later, invisible first, visible later, foundation first, construction later. And that is exactly the process I am executing in your life now. While you anxiously wait for the fruit, I am building deep roots that will support the weight of the blessing that is coming. Because there's a serious problem that occurs when I release fruit to those with shallow roots. The blessing knocks the person down. The miracle destroys instead of building. victory becomes a trap. Have you ever seen people who received something great and weren't ready, gained money and lost it all in months, achieved fame and destroyed themselves, rose quickly and fell even faster? Do you know why? Shallow roots. They had fruit, but they didn't have the roots to support the weight of the fruit. I'm not going to do that to you. I love you too much to give you something that will destroy you. So I'm doing the invisible work first. I'm building deep roots, roots of character, roots of dependence on me, roots of humility, roots of genuine faith, roots of integrity, roots that go very deep into the earth. And this work takes time. It doesn't show up on Instagram. Nobody sees it, nobody applauds it, but it's the most important work I'm doing in you. Let me show you the contrast. There are people from the generation of fast fruits. They want instant results. They want to go viral overnight. They want to get rich in 6 months. They want to build an empire in a year. And you know what happens? They build sandcastles. Beautiful, impressive. But the first storm knocks everything down because it had no roots. It was just a facade. It was just appearance. It had no support. But there are people from the deep roots generation. These people accept the slow process. They accept the invisible work. They accept that I need to build the foundation before building the building. And you know what happens to these people? When the blessing arrives, it stays. When the miracle happens, it is sustainable. When victory comes, it is permanent, because they had deep roots holding everything together. Subscribe to the channel now to continue learning in this spiritual school where I teach the invisible processes that build lasting visible victories. And you are in this process now. I know you don't see anything happening. I know it seems like nothing is changing. I know you look around and see no evidence of a miracle. But let me tell you what I see. I see roots growing deep. I see foundations being firmly established. I see invisible structures being built perfectly. I see preparation happening on levels your natural eyes cannot perceive. And when those roots are complete, when that foundation is established, when that invisible work is finished, I will release the visible, and it will be explosive. It will be abundant. It will be lasting. Because it will not be fruit from shallow roots. It will be fruit from deep roots. It will not be a blessing without support. It will be a blessing with structure. It will not be a miracle that crumbles at the first crisis. It will be a miracle that withstands any storm. So stop complaining about the time. Stop questioning the delay. Stop comparing your process to other people's. Trust in the invisible work that I am doing. Because the invisible comes before the visible, and I am building something in you that will last forever. Do you know what frustrates people the most? When they look at their lives and see nothing happening, the situation remains the same, the circumstances haven't changed, the doors remain closed, and then they conclude that I'm not doing anything, that I forgot, that I abandoned them, that the promises failed. But let me reveal something that will completely change your perspective. While nothing happens on the surface, I am working in the DEPTs, and the work I do underground is much more important than anything that happens above ground. Think again about the tree. When the seed is planted, what happens first? The roots begin to grow. But where do they grow? Downwards, into the earth, into the dark, into the invisible. And while this is happening, if you look at the soil, you will see absolutely nothing. The soil remains the same. There is no external evidence that anything is happening. And if you don't know how I work, you will dig the seed back up thinking it's dead. But the truth is that beneath the earth a miracle is happening. The seed is transforming. Roots are growing. Life is being generated. All in silence, all in the dark, all in the invisible. And that is exactly what I am doing in your life now. While you look at your reality and see no change, I am working deeply. I am digging roots deep into the earth. I am establishing foundations that will support the weight of the miracle that is coming. I am creating spiritual anchors that will keep you standing when the storms come. I am doing underground work that no one sees, but that is essential for everything that comes after. The problem is that people want to see progress. They want immediate evidence. They want proof that something is changing, and when they don't see anything happening on the surface, they give up. They uproot the seed. They abandon the process because they don't understand that the most important work happens where the eyes cannot reach. The underground work is slow, it is silent, it is invisible, but it is powerful, it is essential, it is irreplaceable. Let me show you the contrast. There are people who give up on underground work. They plant the seed, and a week later, they're already checking if anything has sprouted. 2 weeks later, they're questioning whether the seed was good. A month later, they're digging it all up again. They can't endure the time of the invisible. They can't trust what they don't see, and that's why they never harvest. Because they interrupt the process exactly when I'm doing the most important work. But there are people who trust in the underground work. These people plant the seed and wait, even without seeing anything, even when it seems like nothing is happening, even when all the evidence says it has failed. They water the land, they care for the soil, they protect the place, because they know that underground I am working. And when the sprout finally appears, when the visible finally manifests, that is not the beginning of the miracle. It is the evidence of the miracle that I have already been performing for months in the invisible. Comment now to deepen my roots and declare that you trust in God's subterranean work and authorize Him to dig deep into the roots that will sustain your miracle. Then I need you to stop judging my work by the surface. Stop measuring my movement by what your eyes can see. Because I don't work only in the visible, I work primarily in the invisible. And at this very moment, while you watch this video, while you think nothing is changing, I am in the depths of your life doing a tremendous work. I am removing stones that would block your growth. I am digging spaces for roots to expand. I am creating underground channels for water to reach the roots. I am establishing deep connections that will nourish you when drought comes. I am anchoring your life on foundations so solid that no storm will be able to uproot you. All of this happens underground, in the underground work, in the invisible process. But it is real. It is powerful, and it is happening now. So trust in my underground work. Don't give up because you don't see immediate results. Don't abandon the process because it seems like nothing is changing. Because I promise you, the roots are growing. The foundation is being established. The anchoring is being created. And when the right time comes, when the underground work is complete, what will spring forth in your life will impress even the heavens, because it had deep roots supporting it. Now I need to prepare you for an inevitable reality. The storms will come. I'm not saying they might come. I'm not saying they could come. I'm guaranteeing they will come. Because after I give you your miracle, after I fulfill the promises, after I put you in the place I prepared for you, the enemy will attack. Circumstances will challenge you, crises will arise, and the question is not if the storm will come. The question is, when it comes, will you fall or will you remain standing? And the answer to that question depends on one thing: roots. Because deep roots don't prevent the storm. Deep roots guarantee that you withstand the storm. Let me explain. When a hurricane comes, all the trees in the forest face the same wind, the same hurricane, the same intensity. But some trees are uprooted. They fall, they break, they die, while other trees bend with the wind but remain standing. And do you know what the difference is? It's not the size of the tree, it's not the beauty of the tree, it's the depth of the roots. A tree with shallow roots can be beautiful. It can have impressive branches. It can bear abundant fruit. But when the storm comes, it falls because it lacked anchorage. It lacked a deep foundation. It lacked a solid connection with the earth. So the wind easily uproots it. But a tree with deep roots may be smaller, it may have fewer branches, it may seem less impressive, but when the storm comes, it resists, because its roots are so deep in the earth that nothing can uproot it. And I built deep roots in you during that desert time, when you were suffering, when you were waiting, when you didn't understand why it was taking so long. I was digging deep roots. I was creating anchors. I was establishing foundations, not to make you suffer, but to prepare you for what comes after the miracle, because the miracle will attract attention. Victory will attract envy. The blessing will attract attacks. And if you don't have deep roots, the blessing itself will knock you down. Let me show you the contrast. There are people who receive blessings without having roots. They haven't gone through the process. They weren't forged in the desert. They haven't developed spiritual depth. And when the blessing arrives, they even get excited. They celebrate. They post on social media. But then comes the first crisis, the first storm, the first attack from the enemy, and they crumble because they had no roots. They were beautiful on the surface, but fragile at the foundation. But there are people who receive blessings after developing deep roots. These people have been through fire. They were broken and rebuilt. They waited in the dark. They trusted when nothing made sense. And when the blessing arrives, it comes with stability. And when the storm comes, and it will come, these people bend but do not break. They sway but do not fall. They suffer impact but are not destroyed, because they had deep roots holding everything together. Leave your light now to choose to be a tree with deep roots that resists any storm, instead of a beautiful but fragile tree that falls at the first crisis. And I want you to understand something powerful. That difficult time you went through was not punishment. It was preparation. It wasn't me destroying you. It was me strengthening you. It wasn't me being cruel. It was me giving you resistance. Because I knew that after the miracle, the storms would come. And I wasn't going to give you victory without giving you the structure to sustain the victory. So when the next crisis comes, and it will come, you will not fall. When the next attack comes, and it will come, you will not be destroyed. When the next storm comes, and it will come, you will resist, because you have deep roots. Roots that I dug during the desert, roots that were established in the fire of suffering, roots that were anchored in the promises I gave you when all was dark. And these roots are unwavering, they are unbreakable, they are eternal. No wind can uproot you, no storm can knock you down, no crisis can destroy you, because you are no longer that fragile person you once were. You have been transformed, you have been strengthened, you have been rooted, and now you can face any storm and come out standing on the other side. Not because you are strong, but because your roots are deep, and deep roots guarantee eternal resilience. I don't leave my children in the dark. I don't make promises and remain silent. I don't decree something and leave you without confirmation, because I know you need signs. I know your faith needs anchoring. I know your heart needs evidence that I am really working. And so I send supernatural signs. Signs that cannot be explained by logic. Signs that cannot be attributed to chance. Signs that are celestial confirmations that everything I promised you is decreed and will be fulfilled. And today, I am sending you a prophetic sign, the sign 7777. And this number didn't reach you by coincidence. It's not luck. It's not an algorithm. It's supernatural confirmation that your miracle is activated. Let me explain the profound meaning of this number. The number 7 inches, my word, represents perfection. It represents completeness. It represents that which is finished. I created the world in 6 days, and on the 7th I rested, because it was complete, it was perfect, it was finished. When I write the number 7 4 times in a row, I am declaring quadruple completeness, multiplied perfection, absolute completion. It's as if I'm saying, this isn't just complete, it's complete in all dimensions. In the spiritual, the natural, the emotional, the material. 7777 is the decree that everything that needs to be done for your miracle to happen is being finalized now. Nothing is missing. There is no impediment that I haven't removed. There is no barrier that I haven't broken down. Do you know why I send these signs? Because I know the enemy works to make you duped. He whispers in your ear that nothing will change, that the promises have failed, that you are alone, that I have forgotten you. And when doubt begins to grow, when faith begins to falter, I send a sign, something you cannot ignore, something that makes you stop and think, this is not a coincidence. This is God speaking to me. This is celestial confirmation, and the number 7777 carries a clear message. I'm telling you, everything I promised is in the process of finalization. The pieces are falling into place. The doors are opening. The paths are being prepared. The right people are being positioned. The resources are being released. And very soon, you will see in the visible what I have already finalized in the invisible, because 7777 is the number of total completeness. Think about how many times you've asked for confirmation. How many times have you prayed saying, I just need to know that you are with me. I just need to be sure I'm not mistaken. I just need a sign that the promises are real. And I heard you. I always hear you. And today, through this video, through this prophetic number, I am giving you the confirmation you asked for. 7777 is my answer. It is my sign. It is my confirmation that yes, I am with you. Yes, the promises are real. Yes, the miracle is coming. Comment 7777 now to supernaturally activate the celestial confirmation and decree that you receive the prophetic sign that your miracle is finalized in heaven and will manifest on earth. And when you declare this number, when you prophesy 7777 over your life, something powerful happens in the spiritual realm. Because it's not just a comment, it's an act of faith. It's you saying, I receive the confirmation, I believe in the sign, I accept the few 18 prophetic decree. And when you act in faith, responding to the sign I sent, you activate the manifestation of what is already ready in heaven. So don't ignore this sign, don't treat it as superstition. Don't dismiss it as meaningless numerology, because I am speaking to you through this number. I am confirming my pact. I am reaffirming my promises. I am sealing your miracle. And 7777 is the celestial code that says, it is done, it is complete, it is finalized, it is decreed. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can prevent the fulfillment of what I have already completed. This is your supernatural sign, your heavenly confirmation, your evidence that I have not failed, and will never fail. Receive the sign, declare the number, activate the decree, and prepare to see the perfect completion of all that I have promised you. I need you to stop for a moment and think. Of all the millions of videos you could be watching right now, you are watching this one. Of all the messages that could have reached you today, it was this one that arrived. Of all the times this could have happened, it happened now. And you think this is coincidence? You think it's chance? You think it's a random algorithm? Let me reveal something that will completely change your perspective. This is not coincidence. This is providential synchronicity. This is me orchestrating all the details so that you are here at this exact moment, receiving exactly the message your soul needs to hear. Providential synchronicity is when I move heaven and earth to place the right person with the right message at the right time. It's when I align events, circumstances, thoughts, and actions to create a divine encounter. Because I don't work with chance, I work with purpose. Every detail of your life is under my supervision. And when the moment arrives for you to receive a prophetic word, a transformative revelation, a celestial decree, I do everything to position you exactly where you need to be. Think about everything that had to happen for you to be here now. You woke up at a specific time. You picked up your phone at a specific moment. You opened the app in a specific sequence. And suddenly, this video appeared on your screen. But it wasn't sudden. It was me moving invisible pieces. It was me influencing decisions. It was me guiding your steps. It was me preparing this encounter. Because I knew you needed to hear exactly what I'm telling you now. And you know what else? What I'm revealing to you in this video is specific to the moment you're living. It's not a generic message. It's not general advice. It's a personalized revelation. Because I know your situation. I know what you're going through. I see your secret tears. I hear your silent prayers. And I orchestrated this meeting to give you exactly the word that will transform your reality. Let me show you the contrast. There are people who watch this video and think, what an interesting coincidence. What a beautiful message. What inspiring words. And they move on without recognizing that it was a divine encounter. They treat it as entertainment, as random content, as just another video on their timeline. And because of that, they miss the activation that was available, because providential synchronicity only releases power when it is recognized. But there are people who watch this video and their hearts burn. Something inside them witnesses. They know it wasn't by chance. They recognize the hand of God orchestrating the encounter. And when they recognize the providential synchronicity, when they say, God brought me here, this was not a coincidence, something powerful is activated. Because recognizing synchronicity is opening the door to the miracle that was waiting for this moment to manifest. So I want you to recognize now, this was not by chance. This was not luck. This was not a blind algorithm. It was me, bringing you this message because your time has come, because your kairos is here, because your visitation has begun. And everything I revealed to you in this video, all the decrees that were released, all the promises that were reaffirmed, all of this is for you, not for someone else. For you who are here now. Share this video now so that others may also receive this providential synchronicity, because just as I brought you here, I want to use you to bring others who need this prophetic word. And when you recognize that it was I who orchestrated this encounter, when you accept that this message is specific to your life, when you declare that it was not coincidence but providential synchronicity, you activate all the prophetic power that has been released here. You open the celestial floodgates. You authorize the manifestation of the decree. you position your life to receive everything that I have prepared. So receive it now. Acknowledge the synchronicity. Accept that I brought you here. Believe that this message is your prophetic word, and prepare yourself to see the supernatural fulfillment of everything I have revealed to you. Because when providential synchronicity meets the recognition of faith, miracles happen. And your miracle is happening now. Now, I need to give you something that will sustain you through the most difficult moments. Something that will keep you standing when everything around you is crumbling. Something that will prevent you from giving up when the delay seems unbearable. And that something is anchoring. It's the ability to remember the pact I made with you. Because the truth is, you will face moments of doubt. You will go through days where it seems like nothing is happening. You will have to resist voices that say the promises have failed. And in those moments, the only thing that will hold you up is the memory of the pact. A pact is not a suggestion. A pact is not a possibility. A pact is an irrevocable commitment. When I make a pact with you, I am binding my word to your reality in an eternal way. I cannot go back on it. I cannot change my mind. I cannot cancel it, because I am not a man that I should lie. I am not human that I should repent. When I say, I do. When I promise, I fulfill. When I decree, I accomplish. And the pact that I made with you through this message is as real as any pact I have ever made in the history of humanity. The problem is that people forget the covenant. They hear the prophetic word in a moment of heightened faith. They receive the promise with a burning heart. They declare that they will trust until the end. But when trials come, when circumstances tighten, when delays extend, they forget. They forget what I promised. They forget what I decreed. They forget the covenant that was sealed. And when they forget, they begin to waver, to doubt, to question, and doubt opens the door for the enemy to steal what was already guaranteed. But something powerful happens when you remember the covenant. When in the midst of the storm you stop and say, wait, God promised me. In the midst of the crisis you declare, God made a covenant with me. In the midst of darkness you prophesy, God decreed my miracle. This remembrance acts as an anchor, as a foundation, as an unshakable rock. Because you are not trusting in what you feel. You are trusting in what I promised. And what I promised never fails. Let me show you the difference. People who forget the covenant live on an emotional roller coaster. When things are going well, they trust. When things are going badly, they despair. When they see signs, they believe. When they see nothing, they doubt. They are always unstable, always insecure, always questioning, because they forgot the answer. They forgot the covenant. They forgot that I have already decreed it, and nothing can change what I decree. But people who remember the covenant remain firm. It doesn't matter if the storm is raging. It doesn't matter if the circumstances are screaming otherwise. It doesn't matter if everyone is saying it won't happen. They have an anchor. They remember God promised. And if God promised, it will happen. Period. No discussion, no doubt, no wavering. The covenant is the rock upon which they build all their faith. So I want you to print this in your heart. I made a covenant with you. Through this message, through these prophetic words, through these heavenly decrees, I sealed a covenant. And this covenant says that your time in the desert is over, that your miracle is decreed, that your victory is guaranteed, that your transformation is confirmed. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can annul this covenant, because it doesn't depend on you, it depends on me, and I never fail. In the coming days, when doubt arises, remember the covenant. When circumstances scream that nothing has changed, remember the covenant. When the enemy whispers that you have been deceived, remember the covenant. When people question your faith, remember the covenant. Because the covenant is your anchor, it is your security, it is your certainty. And as long as you remember the covenant, nothing will shake you. Nothing will bring you down. Nothing will make you give up. I promised, I decreed, I sealed. And what I seal, no one opens. What I decree, no one annuls. What I promise is always fulfilled. This is your covenant. This is your anchor. This is your unshakable rock. Remember this, always. Now is the time for me to release upon your life a series of prophetic decrees that will supernaturally establish your destiny. These are not wishes. They are not prayers. They are decrees. Authoritative declarations that come from my mouth and create reality. Because when I decree something, it comes into existence. When I declare something, it becomes established. And today, I am decreeing upon your life transformations that no power of hell can prevent. I decree that the cycle of financial scarcity in your life is broken now. I decree that doors of supernatural provision open and resources that were blocked are released. I decree that impossible debts are cancelled and that financial multiplication begins to operate in your life in an inexplicable way. I decree that your house will never again experience lack, that your table will never again be empty, that your needs will always be abundantly met. I decree that hereditary illnesses are uprooted now. I decree that every negative diagnosis is nullified by my power. I decree perfect health over your body, your mind, and your emotions. I decree that chronic pains disappear, that incurable diseases are cured, that symptoms that tormented you are removed. I decree full life, renewed vigor, and supernatural strength over your body. I decree complete restoration over your family. I decree that broken relationships are restored, that rebellious children return, that estranged spouses are reunited, that divisions are healed and unity is established. I decree that your home becomes a place of peace, worship, and divine presence. I decree angelic protection over each member of your family, and that no evil will befall them. I decree that the purpose for which I created you is being activated now. I decree that confusion about your calling is removed and prophetic clarity is released. I decree that dormant talents are awakened, that hidden gifts are manifested, that blocked anointings are released. I decree that you will fulfill everything I have planned for your life, and nothing will be left undone. I decree that doors that were closed will open. I decree that impossible opportunities will appear, that strategic connections will happen, that supernatural favor will accompany you wherever you go. I decree that influential people will seek you out, that important contracts will be signed, that unexpected promotions will occur. I decree that you are entering a season where everything you touch prospers. Leave your like now and subscribe to the channel to come back here and witness when each of these prophetic decrees is fulfilled in your life. I decree the breaking of generational curses that have operated in your lineage. I decree that patterns of failure, poverty, sickness, and defeat that have come from generation to generation are destroyed now. I decree that you are the turning point in your family, that from you a new story begins, that your children and grandchildren will inherit blessing instead of curse. I decree total protection over your life. I decree that accidents are prevented, that the enemy's traps are disarmed, that spiritual attacks are blocked. I decree warrior angels surrounding you, forming an impenetrable wall. I decree that no weapon forged against you will prosper, and every tongue that rises against you will be condemned. I decree guaranteed victory over every battle you will yet face. I decree that you will not lose, that you will not give up, that you will not be defeated. I decree that you are more than a conqueror, that you are the head and not the tail, that you are on top and not on the bottom. I decree that everything the enemy stole from you will be restored double. These decrees were released today upon your life. And my word does not return empty. It accomplishes that for which I sent it. So receive it by faith. Declare Amen, and prepare yourself to see the supernatural fulfillment of every prophetic decree that has been released now. Because it is done, it is decreed, it is sealed, and nothing can prevent the fulfillment of what I decree. Now I'm going to call you to something that will separate those who truly believe from those who have only heard. Something that will distinguish those with active faith from those who only have religious knowledge. I'm going to call you to testify, but not to testify after the miracle happens. Not to testify when you already have the proof in your hands. Not to testify when everyone can see. I'm calling you to testify now. To declare your testimony before the visible manifestation, to prophesy your victory while it still seems like nothing has changed. Because this is the kind of faith that activates the supernatural. Let me explain something powerful to you. In the spiritual realm, your miracle has already happened. Your victory is already guaranteed. Your transformation is already complete. Everything I decreed over your life already exists. The problem isn't in the spiritual realm. The problem is bringing it from the spiritual to the natural. And do you know what this bridge does? What connects the invisible to the visible? What authorizes the manifestation of that which is already ready in heaven? Your testimony, your declaration, your word of faith. When you declare, I received my miracle before seeing it, you are not lying, you are not pretending, you are not being presumptuous. You are doing exactly what I do. You are calling things that are not as if they already were. You are prophesying spiritual reality so that it may manifest in the natural. You are authorizing with your mouth that which I have already authorized with my decree. Let me show you the contrast. There are people who say, when I see the miracle, I will testify. When the healing happens, I will declare it. When the money comes in, I will give testimony. When the door opens, I will give thanks. These people are waiting to see to believe, but I didn't call you to that kind of faith. That kind of faith is common. Anyone can believe when they see. Anyone can testify when they have proof. Anyone can declare it when the situation confirms it. But I have called you to supernatural faith. Faith that testifies before seeing. Faith that declares victory before the battle is over. Faith that prophesies the miracle before it manifests. Because this faith does not depend on circumstance. This faith does not need visual confirmation. This faith is based solely on my word. And when I say it is done, it is done. It doesn't matter if it hasn't appeared yet. It doesn't matter if it hasn't manifested yet. It is done in the spiritual realm and only needs your declaration to manifest in the natural realm. Do you know what happens when you declare, I received my miracle before seeing it? An explosion occurs in the spiritual realm. Angels are activated, demons are expelled, barriers are destroyed, doors are opened, resources are released, because your declaration of faith is a celestial authorization. It's as if you were saying, I believe in what God has decreed and I authorize its manifestation now. And there's more. When you testify before seeing, you are waging a spiritual war. Because the enemy works to keep your miracle trapped in the invisible. He cannot cancel what I have decreed, but he can delay the manifestation. And his main weapon is unbelief, making you doubt, making you wait, making you question. But when you declare your testimony in advance, you are destroying unbelief. You are telling the enemy, no matter what you do, I have already received. And this declaration breaks the power of delay. Comment now, I received my miracle, and declare by faith that everything God has decreed over your life is already manifested, because anticipatory testimony activates supernatural fulfillment. This is not an ordinary comment. It's not a motivational phrase. It's a prophetic declaration. It's an act of war. It's a heavenly authorization. When you write, I received my miracle, you are saying, I believe it is done spiritually, and I decree that it will manifest naturally. I believe in the prophetic word I received, and I authorize its fulfillment now. And you know what's most powerful? When you publicly declare your testimony, when you're not ashamed to prophesy your victory before it happens, when you risk your reputation on my word, because a public declaration is Hij faith. It's faith that doesn't hide. It's faith that isn't afraid to be exposed. And that kind of faith moves mountains. So I call upon you now. Testify, declare, prophesy. Don't wait to see. Don't wait to feel. Don't wait for circumstances to confirm. Declare by faith, I received my miracle, and prepare to see in the visible what you declared in the invisible. Because your anticipated testimony is activating your miracle now. I know you're waiting. I know it feels like nothing is happening. I know you look around and everything looks exactly the same. But let me reveal something that will bring peace to your heart. While you wait, I am working. While it seems like nothing has changed, I am preparing everything. While the manifestation hasn't yet arrived, I am orchestrating every detail of your miracle behind the scenes. Invisible preparation is the most important work I do, because it's no use me giving you the miracle if you're not ready. It's no use me opening the door if the right people aren't positioned. It's no use me releasing the resource if the timing isn't perfect. So while you wait, I am preparing you. I am preparing the people. I am preparing the places. I am preparing the time, so that when everything manifests, it will be perfect. You know what you call a delay. I call it preparation. You know what you call a late arrival? I call it divine synchronization, because I am never late. I always arrive at the exact moment, at the perfect second, at the right time. And when I appear with your miracle, you will understand why it needed to be now and not before. So trust the process. Trust the invisible preparation, because everything I have decreed over your life is being prepared now. And when the preparation is complete, the manifestation will be instantaneous. Suddenly, everything changes. From one moment to the next, everything transforms. In the blink of an eye, the impossible becomes reality, because the invisible preparation was happening all along. And now, everything is ready to manifest. Your new season is beginning now.